And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Ralph Tomasso. Ralph, thanks for being with me today, sir.
Hey, how's it going, big guy?
It is going great. It's going to be a phenomenal conversation because Ralph's going to help us really regain your financial freedom. So if you're an entrepreneur out there and if you're carrying some debt and you're doing some things that are kind of constricting you, Ralph's going to help us understand how to restructure that, how to get better profit margins, so that that entrepreneurial journey you started out on you can actually enjoy it in a different sort of way. So I can't wait to get into this, Ralph. Tell me, as we jump into this whole conversation, Ralph, I mean, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Oh man. I'm 56 years old. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 21 years old, and everything from the restaurant business to construction to trucking, recycling. These were always high capital intensive businesses. And in 2012, I lost a really big business. And it ended up making, I would say I take 100% responsibility of making some really stupid decisions
Mm,
that led me down a journey of going from very successful to broke. And then not only are you broke, you're fighting creditors that you legitimately owe the money to. So it was a journey of reinventing myself as far as an entrepreneur, building new businesses that were not capital intensive because I didn't have the capital to start new businesses,
right.
as well as fighting creditors that if I didn't protect myself against them and then reorganize the debt in a way that I could afford, I would never been able to reinvent myself and rebuild where I was. All that was done over the course of, oh God, it was 5, 6 years that, it took me to get through that.
Right.
All the lessons I learned, we use, and this industry of collections and business debt and what they're able to do to us as entrepreneurs, it changes. So there's constantly um, tweaking that strategy on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Wow. So you came through this
Woo.
yourself and used what you went through to create something to help other entrepreneurs who might find themselves in that same situation. And a lot of times, entrepreneurs don't know where to go. They don't know who to turn to when they find themselves in a tight situation. So let's talk really briefly about entrepreneurs who might be carrying debt and how you could help them. But I really want to move it about the profit margins and how you can help there as well, because that's when you can increase your profit margins, it gives you a lot more flexibility and freedom to do some things. But if we've got somebody who's kind of struggling there, maybe they've made bad decisions, maybe they've had something happen to them, but they find themselves under this load of debt with creditors calling, all the time or doing whatever they do. Talk about that and some things that you could bring to the table to help them with that.
Oh God, yeah. So the journey that I see my clients go through, right? The debt is really a symptom of a deeper problem, right?
Mm,
So an entrepreneur starts adding on debt for one of two reasons, right? There is a hole in the business where we're not generating enough profit margin to sustainably maintain and grow the business, right? If we're not
mm-hmm.
scaling a business, we're dying just based on inflation, market share, and just the overall scope of why we do this, right? So, number one, as sales start to decline, as profits start to shrink, we start borrowing more money to either A, do something as simple as making payroll on Friday, B, taking care of an unexpected bill like a truck goes down, and
Yeah.
if you're in a restaurant, the air conditioning goes down, or an unexpected fine. You start borrowing for that, assuming that you're going to be able to work your way out of it.
Right.
That doesn't happen because now that you start to pile on debt, your decision making becomes less, more risk averse because you have more to lose. That you're thinking, a, is the first thing I got to do is I got to make that debt payment by the end of the week or the end of the month.
Right.
On top of that, which again shrinks margins even more, which takes out the amount of investment that you could put back into the business to grow and scale the business. So it,
Yeah.
it ends up becoming a snowball effect very, very quickly.
Yeah, it really does. And not only all the decisions that you have to make, but the emotional impact that has
Oh,
on you, your team, your family. And reaching out to Ralph, is a great first step. If you find yourself struggling with that, treading water, maybe going down for the second time underwater saying, help, Ralph has been doing this for quite a long time. He has his experience, personal experience, right? He's been
Oof,
there. He
oof.
understands, but he also has the process and the team in place to help you. So if you find yourself in that situation, don't delay. Call Ralph today. How about that? Sounds like a
Nah,
radio ad,
that
right?
rhymes. That's catchy. I might use that.
So let's talk about profit margins and what you see in business owners and why, if they're carrying debt, how do you help them like increase some profit margins and live a better life? So let's talk about that because that's really intriguing.
Yeah. So the biggest debt that I see business owners take on is merchant cash advances. These are revenue-based financing. They're not so much a loan as they are a sale of your future receivables. And the way they're written is the lender is buying, or the merchant cash advance company is buying a percentage of those future receivables, say like 10% of your receivables. And then what happens is now I take $10,000 today with the responsibility of paying them back $15,000 in 4 or 5 months, giving them 10% of every dollar that comes in. But then when sure enough, 2 months down the road, money gets tight again. They take another one, and now they sell another 10% receivables. But then when you look at your net profit margin, that business, take a construction company, that business may only have an 8% profit margin to begin with. So for every dollar for every $100 coming in, they're losing $12 in revenue because
Right.
they got to give the first 20 cents to the merchant cash advance company. So the number one thing that I see is a business owner doesn't know its numbers.
Yep.
That's the first thing. So
Yep.
knowing that your net margin is 8%, that's the first thing. So when we take on a client, the first thing that we do is we built a platform that's actually pretty neat. It has all the latest AI models and machine learning, but more importantly, it does predictive analysis,
Mm-hmm.
where based on the tens of thousands of other clients that we've looked at, and we've built these models. Number one is you're not alone. Number two is I've had hundreds of clients make the same mistakes as you, so I see the patterns of how you got there. I know the patterns of what it's going to take to get out of there, and then so the first thing we do, step number one, is we got to shrink that 20 cents of every dollar that you're putting out the door, and we got to shrink it below 8 cents because we got to get you cash flow positive. That's the first
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, your lenders know your margins.
Mm-hmm.
They're not giving you 20 cents on as an accident.
Right.
They know that if their payments are more than your net cash flow, they know you got to come back to them for more money just to pay them back. So if I give you 10,000, you got to pay me back 15, and I'm taking more money than you're making. I know my next 10,000 I give you is just to give it back to me, but now your 15 goes to 30.
Wow. That
So
sounds like
that's a very quickly you can get
I was
in.
like, that sounds like a losing proposition, but probably something that a lot of businesses are in because they don't know their numbers. And working with you can perceive and see into their numbers, and probably, I'm guessing, fairly quickly see some things because of your experience and how many clients you've worked with. You can probably look at a P&L or a balance sheet or whatever to go, here are four things right here.
What we do, the way that our system was built, and we built it from the ground up, so there's nothing else out there like it, is we take your loan contracts, we scan it, our OCR program reads the whole thing. We're looking for loopholes, we're looking for where there's any faults in the contract. Now, what you're really responsible for, more importantly, number one. Then we look at 4 6 months worth of bank statements, which, knowing that our usual client is not up to date on their books, so that really all we have to work with is bank statements. So it analyzes top line revenue, bottom line. It looks at payroll to, it looks at 19 data points. So we're looking at
Okay.
payroll to revenue, expenses to revenue. We're looking at all recurring payments, and we're looking at what the business is doing with and without the debt.
Yeah.
It then uses 19 data points to forecast the revenue over the next 4 to 6 months. tweaking it every month as we go through the process to basically come up with a plan that your lenders are going to agree to, but more importantly, what you could use to help scale the business. Because lowering the payments is only step one. There's a long process to rewrite the business.
Right. Yeah. And working with you and getting all of that in place is really going to give you a much healthier business and
Oh yeah.
and give you more margin in your mind and really in your heart to say, you know, you don't want to be working for your lenders. And
Ooh,
that's the position a lot of entrepreneurs end up in, right?
100%. We all as entrepreneurs got into this business for freedom, right?
Right.
And the quickest way I can make you, for lack of a better word, indebted to me is, or a slave to me is put you into debt.
Yeah.
And if once you have to start making decisions of how you're going to make my next payment, everything starts. You are now working for me, not the other way
Right.
around.
That's right. And that is not the entrepreneurial dream. That is more like the entrepreneurial nightmare. And
Yes.
so many times the entrepreneurs put themselves in there because of short term thinking. Maybe something comes up like the air conditioner goes out or something. Oh, okay. Well, then guess what? 2 or 3 months later, something else goes out. The stove goes out. It's like, oh no. And pretty soon, you're looking at this big ball of debt, and you're going, oh my. That's that. Well, a long time ago, but that's when you call Ralph. Don't try to figure it out yourself because Ralph has the experience to look at your stuff, to look at your numbers. He has a plan in place. It's just crazy when we have resources like you, Ralph, out there, we don't take advantage of. And that's why I wanted you on this show to say, okay, guys, gals, it's not, you don't have to go through what Ralph went through
Oh, trust me.
necessarily, right?
I always said it was one of the things that really was the best thing happened to me as an entrepreneur. My wife will disagree when the doorbell was ringing with a lawsuit every time. But it made me way better of an entrepreneur. It gave me insights to all this. One thing I really want to say out there is that when an entrepreneur that's down, there are a lot of people that are looking to prey on you in your desperation. So there's a
Yeah,
whole cottage industry that popped up. Like these merchant cash advances have grown into a $30 billion a year business, and it's growing at 9 or 10% a year. So there's a cottage industry that grew up called debt settlement that is calling you and saying, "Hey, look, if you're struggling with these merchant cash advance payments, we're going to cut your payment in half and you just got to pay us. We'll put money in an escrow account." When I tell you that's when the cure becomes worse than the disease.
right.
And then that's another group that's trying to take advantage of you. So please be very careful.
Yeah, and that's just word for the wise right there. And that's why it's so important for people to understand you're out there, Ralph. You're a confidant. You're on their side, and you've been through it, right? You've
Oh
got
yeah.
the battle scars. You
Woo.
understand what's going on, but you've also built a process. And this is the other thing that you said earlier. It's not an overnight pill. This is not some purple pill you take and everything. All your stuff goes away. No,
Oh no.
it, this is kind of a at sometimes a kind of a restructuring and negotiating. But Ralph's doing all of that with a plan to make you healthy and give you financial freedom again.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't get in overnight.
Yeah.
You gotta, if I could alleviate, if I could build a motor out in your business, if I could give you the peace of mind to, let us take all the crap off your plate and deal with all the bad stuff, right? All this, entrepreneurs are good at putting their foot on the gas. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, businesses fail by indigestion, not starvation, right? We're taking on too much. We have distractions. We're going after every shiny object. If I could take all these distractions off your plate right now, the debt went from the cure to the problem. Then if I could deal with that problem, you guys could focus, the entrepreneur could focus on the underlying business.
Mm-hmm.
What brings in sales, what keeps the money in the bank, and what gives you the biggest profit margins, down to the bottom line. Then we could say, okay, wow, now that we have some clarity, let's start taking all this additional cash flow that we gave you and dump it on that marketing channel that's growing, that's giving you the biggest margins. They call that
Right.
the LTV to CAC, the long-term value over the cost of a customer acquisition.
Yeah.
If you focus on that number, now, a year from now, we're going to be looking back and saying, wow, I can't believe, $40,000 was going to make me, put the key in the door and walk away.
Right. Right. So there's so much hope because there's a pathway to freedom. And it's like if you're in financial freedom, or if you're in financial bondage, financial prison as an entrepreneur, this is your ticket out. And Ralph, you're old enough to remember this. Do you remember Andy Griffith, the Andy
Oh yeah,
Griffith
yeah.
show? I always one of my favorite scenes of Andy Griffith is when Otis, the drunk, would come in and put himself in the cell, right? Close the door, and then when he was sober, he'd reach through the bars and grab the key and open the door, right? That's kind of what you're giving the entrepreneur the opportunity to is reach in, open the prison door, and walk down the pathway that Ralph has laid out for you to give you your financial freedom. Is that a fair analogy?
Yeah, I would say the it's a partnership in that
Yeah.
you know your business. The business owner knows his business better than I do. He knows what works and what doesn't work. He's probably tried everything, right? But once he tries things that were mistakes, he went down the wrong road, and whether he borrowed money to achieve that and it didn't pan out. Now it's not to me as an like my hashtag is like to end entrepreneurial poverty, right? It's we're such a small percentage of society, but my wife is a school teacher, and all our family are city workers, and I'm saying, oh God, guys, entrepreneurs are out there changing the world. We feel we have that something special, and it's really up to us to make it flourish, right?
Yeah.
So all I'm doing, the first thing I want to do is take away all the distractions, let that creativity flourish, let you get back to business, let me deal with all the crap, and then you guys could focus on the stuff that works. That's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah, I love that. All right, Ralph, if somebody's out there, they're listening, they need some help, they want to research more about you, find out more about you, your programs, where would they go? What's the best place for them to go?
Oh, go to reliefwithralph.com. That's reliefwithralph.com.
I love it. Reliefwithralph.com. I'm going to put that in the show notes so you can check out what Ralph has built. You can understand his journey and how he can help you go from, well, poverty to freedom financially in your business so you can grow and have that entrepreneurial dream that you've always wanted to. Ralph, man, thank you for being my guest. Thanks for doing what you do to help entrepreneurs and to make such a big impact in the world.
Oh, you're welcome. I really appreciate you having me here. Great meeting you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for listening to Expert Speak. Tune in again next week for another great episode. Take care and God bless.